Welcome back to Myths and Mischief, and the start of our brand new underwater mystery series. Find your best diver suits as we take a swim among the unknown entities lurking below the sea. In the first video, we are going to be on the hunt for mer creatures, such as mermaids, mermen, and the ever mysterious sirens. So we've all heard the stories, mythical creatures, legendary tales, spun by the sailors visiting from foreign lands, all with something to say about their journey. But what you might not know is there are many various underwater species that have been circulating around since as early as the first recorded books of literature.
Where are they?
The mermaid, or merman, are most typically defined by their fish-like lower body and human upper halves. They are said to have iridescent scales that softly reflect the light, and luscious locks with an overall human-based appearance, should they ever raise their head above the surface of the water. Most myths and legends portray these creatures to be living in cities under the sea, such as Atlantis, or even mermaid coves, and yet we don't know whether this is true or simply something designed to attract an audience with popular media over the years. Of course, while the average mermaid is described as having glistening scales that shimmer as the sun shines down on them, there are actually some fish that have typically been mistaken as mermaids throughout history. I am of course talking about sea dragons with their long slender bodies, seahorses with their long flowing tails in glorious technicolor, and of course the one and only manatee with their mermaid-like tails. A lot of media over the years have also depicted merfolk as having supernatural powers, with them being able to conjure up sea twisters, have magical underwater fruit, powers, and even command other sea creatures to do their bidding. But if you compare it to the real-world sailor stories, you soon begin to realise that this is just part of the myth that has been fabricated. Fun fact, did you know that in H2O just add water, each of the scales were glued onto every tail one at a time, which could typically take days to be completed. This is probably the most popular representation of merfolk in present-day media. Of course, if we're talking about merfolk, we also need to have a special mention for the darker side of these creatures, namely the ever-dangerous and vicious sirens. Believed to lead the sailors to their doom, sirens have been around just as long as merfolk have, if not longer, with the first literary record said to have been around 750 BC. A siren is a mythical creature that acts as the evil counterpart of the mermaid, while the mermaid is typically symbolised by freedom and duality. The stereotypical siren, however, is commonly associated with deception and temptation, as they lure the unsuspecting sailor towards their doom. They are also paired with themes of destruction, death, and the inescapable nature of fate. Now, where the first literature record of sirens may be 750 BC, you may be surprised to find out that actually the first predicted mermaid sighting was around 1000 BC. Although this is considered to be a fairly accurate date, there is still some uncertainty due to the theories of merfolk existing through many cultures for centuries. So we have an approximate date for both, but unfortunately this needs to be taken with the following in mind. Many cultures throughout history had low literacy rates, with only the rich and famous being able to afford education, and as such there are bound to be other sightings passed down through word of mouth and never even recorded. Mermaids find their origin in many different worldwide folklore, including but not limited to Eastern, African, European, and Asian cultures. One of the most notable and possibly first mermaid story comes from the ancient Arissa in the story of the goddess Atakaris, who transforms herself into a mermaid out of shame after accidentally killing her human lover. One of the most famous companies to prominently feature these creatures in their released content would be none other than Disney itself, with multiple accounts of the mermaids in films such as Peter Pan, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Little Mermaid, and many more. They have established an overall image which is widely used to depict these underwater creatures across many parts of the world. This has contributed to the overall aesthetic that many public representations follow. There is a lot that is actually currently unknown about the ocean. Sailor tales have flooded throughout gossip rings through generational storytelling. However, NASA have only actually discovered and explored 5% of the unknown watery depths.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
This is both the result of insufficient technological advancements and other factors currently unknown to the public. However, this leads us to believe that maybe there's a lot more to be discovered before certain truths can reach the surface. So, are these creatures merely fairy tale stories, or are they something else lurking among the seaweed and coral? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on Myths and Mischief, as we explore more areas of the unknown underwater and go on the hunt for a kraken.